Hi everyone, as she said, I'm Yashna and this is Darpan. I'm an economics major and a first semester senior.
And I'm a computer science major and I'm a sophomore.
And we also have a third partner, Christine, who's currently studying abroad at the London School of Economics, so she's not here, but she'll be joining us next semester. So we're here to talk about Paysa, a project that we're working on. So Paysa initially started in an introductory engineering class, Engineering for Everyone, with Professor Sarah Moore, who is here today with us. So the class had various independent projects where we had to think on our feet and come up with solutions to different challenges. One of the bigger projects that we worked on was basically coming up with a solution to one of the global grand challenges identified by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So every year, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation identifies a bunch of issues that are basically of concern in the developing world, and they open up a platform to the world to submit proposals so that people can come up with ways to actually solving these issues, and the proposals that the Gates Foundation believes have some sort of potential actually get funded in order to go forward with executing the proposed solution. So we specifically identified and decided to address the issue of enabling merchant acceptance of mobile money payments in the developing world. So what this challenge really means is that a lot of developing countries only use cash to make payments, and the Gates Foundation believes that it's important to move these countries forward by using digital transactions and mobile money transactions so that people can move from using only cash to cashless payments. So Christine, Darpan and I got together to work on this challenge just out of varying interests. Christine and I are economics majors, and we thought we can bring knowledge from other classes that we've taken at Smith to addressing this particular challenge, because it's to do with financial literacy and the financial world, and we thought we can connect our economics classes to actually coming up with a solution. Darpan, being a computer science major, was particularly interested with the technology aspect of this challenge, and she thought she could bring her knowledge from her computer science classes to addressing this particular challenge. So specifically, this challenge is geared towards addressing people living below $2 a day in the developing world. And what we're trying to do is come up with a system that will encourage merchants in the developing world to accept cashless forms of payment. So these merchants range anywhere from small vendors doing simple things like selling airtime, and like street vendors selling small things like just basic groceries, to large-scale supermarkets. And the Gates Foundation believes that this particular challenge needs to be addressed first to increase financial literacy in the developing world, because actually having bank accounts and using cashless forms of payment will encourage people to learn more about financial structures and be able to manage money better, and also maintain better records of all their transactions. And it's also important because this is a good way of encouraging more people to open bank accounts, because statistics indicate that according to the Financial Access, only 50% of the global adult population actually has a bank account. So this would be a good way to encourage more people to actually have bank accounts. So now Darpan's going to actually explain what our system is and what it does. Oh yeah, so we are able to go forward with executing our proposed solution because we were one of the teams identified by the Gates Foundation to receive funding for our solution, and this is what has given us the means to take our proposed solution forward, and now we're in the process of implementing it.
So Paysa, we've said, is changing the way to pay one fingerprint at a time. So what does it mean? So Paysa is a cashless form of payment that connects people's fingerprints to their bank accounts and enables merchants to accept mobile money payments by transferring funds from customers' bank accounts to merchants' bank account. So what happens is when you go to a store and you have to make a payment, you place your finger on a fingerprint scanner, which is given to the merchants by us, and is connected to either a cell phone or a computer. And the software we have matches your fingerprint with by looking through a pre-existing database and verifies the match, and then money from your account is transferred to the merchant's account. And in the end, you receive a cell phone notification saying that the transaction has been completed. And so to go through with this project, we have to have a lot of partnerships. The first one is we partner with banks in the location we are piloting in. And also, because the region we're working in is developing and people don't have enough exposure to technology, we feel like not everyone, especially like adults and people with low literacy, won't be open to accepting new technology. So we will be partnering with local schools and colleges so that we can work with young adults who are more open towards change and open towards using technology. So we'll provide them with $2 incentive in the beginning so that they can use our system. And we also will partner with Aadhaar, and I'll tell you about Aadhaar. So Aadhaar is a unique identification system that's brought to all Indians by Unique Identification Authority of India. So what happens five years ago is that some individuals in India realized that though there are many forms of identification such as passports or citizenships, it is not available to especially the poorest community, and also it doesn't work in every situation. So they came up with unique identification that is a 12-digit number that is accessible to all Indians, including children and infants and everyone. So while enrolling people onto this system, they collected biometric information such as iris scans and fingerprints, which is exactly what we need. And also, the Aadhaar, the 12-digit number is also somehow linked to people's bank accounts if they have one, which is also something we are looking for. So that's why we are looking to partner with Aadhaar.
So we've specifically chosen Nelmangla, India, which is an area in the south, which is really close to where I live, just 45 minutes away from where I stay, to pilot our project. So we had various reasons for specifically choosing Nelmangla, India. First, Darpan and I have both grown up in South Asia. So although the Gates Foundation has identified 8 different countries that they believe need to be worked with in order to establish mobile payment systems, we specifically chose to work with India, and within India specifically Nelmangla, because we thought the more familiar we can be with the region, the easier it would be to actually work with people and work with the place to implement a new system. And another reason is that a lot of individuals in Nelmangla actually meet the $2 limitation identified by the Gates Foundation. So Nelmangla is a district, but it has a large group of individuals actually living below $2 a day, and this meets our target goal of $2 a day.
So why did we decide on using fingerprints? So as we all know, fingerprints are very unique, so they're different from people to people. So also it has been used by forensics department or law enforcement for a long time because of its uniqueness. And one might think that, so why, if it is so essential to identifying me, then why would I want to give away my fingerprint account to like every store? So that could be a question we might ask, but that's not the case in Nelmangla, India, because people who live there have low levels of education, which means they have been using fingerprints as a form of their signature, which means it's not like an identity issue for them to actually use their fingerprints for payments. That's why we chose fingerprints. And also we have Aadhaar, which is already in place. So we have a database, and we won't need to create one, which would take a lot of time and money. So we chose fingerprints.
So the Gates Foundation identified various different guidelines that they wanted proposed solutions to actually meet. And while proposing our solution, we decided that what we were coming up with would actually meet their guidelines, which are listed here in various ways. So to address scalability, we decided that choosing a small region to pilot our project in would help us really understand the system, work with people, and hopefully have a successful system up and running in a small region, and then we can expand beyond Nelamangala to other parts of India. While addressing easy to use insecurity, we decided to go with fingerprints. First, because as Darpan mentioned, cultural norms associated with fingerprint scanning and fingerprint data are quite different in India. It serves as a unique identification method, but it's not something that people are scared to give out because it's something that they've done over years. So even for me, as a child, my first passport has my fingerprint as a signature because I was too young to write. So since fingerprints are unique, it's also something that people can give out with ease, and it's also something that's catering to different levels of literacy, because something like a debit card which requires a PIN is not as easy to use for people who aren't as educated. We're hoping to have extremely low transaction costs with our system, and it needs to have portable coverage. So the fact that people are receiving text messages notifying them about transactions post the transaction will have them maintain records of transactions, and also they can go back to bank statements to really understand where they've used our system. And these are the different countries that the Gates Foundation had identified, and we specifically chose India, as I talked about earlier.
So as we now know about the software, we can see that there's two parts to the software we have to create. And the first part is fingerprint recognition, and second part is transaction. So what happens is, as an input, we'll take the merchant's bank account number and the customer's fingerprint. So we use the fingerprint recognition software to verify the customer's fingerprint, and then get the bank account that's linked to the fingerprint. And after that comes transaction, where now we have bank information of both customer and the merchant. So we transfer fund from customer's bank account to the merchant's bank account. And the progress we've made so far in this project is closely related to the trip we made to Nelamangala, India in December 2015, and we stayed there till January. And before going to India, we had a lot of assumptions about what the place is going to be like, what the people are going to expect and all. So we had to go to the place and to carry out some surveys to see if our assumptions were correct or if they were false. So what we did was we conducted surveys with about 50 merchants in Nelamangala, India. And before the survey, we thought that people would not be as willing to try out our software because it's very new and people are not used to paying without cash. But though there were some merchants who were dismissive of our idea, most merchants were very open, and they said that they would be willing to try out our system, and also we should talk to the customers because that's the population that's going to use our system. So they said that they were willing to try our system, which is a very good thing for us. And we also had meetings with a lot of influential people in the area who helped us throughout the process of creating networks. And we also visited a school that we'll potentially partner with, and we talked to the principal, and he said that he would actually like us to talk to the students when we go back in the summer. And we started building partnership with Aadhaar and banks also, and to do that, India works very differently, so it's very hard to get, say, appointment with people using email or phones. So we have to go through influential people. So we talked to the government representative of Nelamangala, and he promised us that he would set up meetings for us with bank managers and school principals so that we can have we can talk to them about our idea and establish partnerships. And also we got to talk to a representative of Aadhaar, and we're following up on that. And on the software aspect, what we have been doing so far is researching different literature published on fingerprint recognition. And for that, there's various algorithms that have been used, and there are various error rates associated with them. And one of the most popular ones is where, as you can see, this is the fingerprint, and fingerprint has very special features, and that's what makes fingerprints unique. And all of these features are extracted from a fingerprint, and they're somehow stored in a tuple so that they can be analyzed later. And the algorithm that I'm kind of going to introduce is uses orientation fields, which is like a vector field. So in the end, you have a graph with all tiny slopes. And also, it uses ordinary differential equation, and its linearization to give singular points, which are the special features here. So there will be singular points in these regions, so that when we compare fingerprints, we can come up with a matching score. And that's how fingerprint matching is done. So that's one of the algorithms. And this is something we've been more reading about. And what we will be doing over the next few weeks is that we'll be working with open source codes that are available and see how they work and how they fit into our desired specifications for our software. And to test the code, we are also looking for a larger fingerprint data so that we can test the code and see how it works with the larger database. And that's all we have to say about our venture project. And if you're interested to know more, you can visit us at www.paysa.info. And yes, and contact us through Smith email And thank you. And if you have any questions or suggestions now, comments, then we would love to address and get those.